happen in sleep too, believe it or not. It's good to sleep. Yeah, not in class, but at home. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hastamalaka stotra or Hastamalakiyam. Did you do this in the course? Oh, good. New, very nice. So, this is you can say Hastamalaka stotra. Stotra means verses of praise. Here, not directed to an individual, but directed to that all-knowing self, oneself, the truth of oneself. Hastamalaka stava or stotra, or if you want to not say the word stotra, you say Hastamalakiyam, that which has come out of, belonging to, pertaining to Hastamalaka. Hastamalakiyam, Tadhita. And so, therefore, it is a particular kind of a suffix which shows that belonging nature. So, what is it that belongs to Hastamalaka? First of all, who is Hastamalaka? Student of Adi Shankara. Yes. Here it's not the one with students. There, look at on that wall. There are 4 students, and the youngest one is Hastamalaka. Here it's easy to identify. Unlike the story of, whenever we do the 7th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad, Narada Sanat Kumara dialogue, I always point to the sages at the feet of Lord Dakshinamurti and say, one of them is Sanaka. Of course, invariably the question will come, which one? Any one that you like. But here that's not the case, because we know that he was young. And so Hastamalakiyam, belonging to Hastamalaka. So what is it that belongs to him, You can say his body parts belong to him, nobody else. And maybe he had a kamandalu, being a sannyasi. Maybe he had a, whatever mattress to sleep on. All those are belongings. Rudraksha, belonging. No, that's not the kind of belonging that we are talking about. We are talking about the spiritual asset here. And that asset which has been associated, strongly with Hastamalaka is this set of 12 verses called Hastamalakiyam. And of course, with everything in Adi Shankara's life, we begin with a story. Where else to begin? And the story is that Adi Shankara had just finished establishing Mukambika, not in Eugene, we have one here, not this Mukambika on River Road, but we are talking of another Mukambika, the original one. And that is in a place called Kollur in Karnataka. Now nearby there is a village. Now in present day Karnataka it is called Shivalli, and which is a distorted form of the Sanskrit word either Shri Valli or Shri Bali. That was the original name of the village. So he camped out there in that region after having established the shrine, Mukambika temple there. Adi Shankara was invited to lunch. What is the lunch of the sannyasi called? Bhiksha. Yeah, everyone else has lunch. We have Bhiksha, just to make us look fancy. Bhiksha also means lunch, food. But Bhiksha here is not what is eaten, but the manner in which it is obtained. Correct? Yeah. So bhiksha means the begging of alms, which characteristically only sannyasis used to do. Rare now, but in Rishikesh, in places like Rishikesh, you still see that lifestyle. And if you go to Thailand, the monks there, the Buddhist monks, you definitely see that lifestyle. Walking on the road with big, what is that? I don't know what to call it, but like a basket in which there is a very ornate container with an even more ornate lid. And in that, all the offerings are received. Now you get fancy versions of that with compartments so that the liquids don't get married before you eat them. And when I was in Japan, we had a bhikkhu. Bhikkhu means bhikshu. In Pali, they say bhikkhu. And he came with his thing. With his bhiksha patra. So this is bhiksha, where you go, for alms. And because the bhiksha, the one who is asking for bhiksha, is committed to a lifestyle that is devoted to this learning, which frees from sorrow and dread, as we have been seeing, that whole person is honored, and the lifestyle of the person is also honored, and the givers of the bhiksha consider themselves extremely fortunate to be able to feed such an entity who is not a burden on the earth. That is the spirit in which it is given. So the giver is very eager to have the sannyasi over for lunch, not literally, and so the giver wants to have the sannyasi for bhiksha, and the sannyasi will oblige. That is the idea behind this. And so in this village called Shivalli now, and Shrivali or Shribali in the ancient times, Adi Shankara went for his bhiksha to the house of one man who was a great devotee, of the Vedas, of Ishvara, very prayerful household, prayerful family, and seemed to have a lot of money, was, lived a rich lifestyle, but had one big sorrow. And what was that big sorrow? The offspring. Yeah. The offspring, which by various accounts, was either 7 or 9 or 11 or 13, or 12, something like that. So we are talking of a boy between the ages of 7 and 12, 8 and 12, something like that, a small boy who was extremely weird. And they had tried everything. They thought he had ADD and tried to, and what was in those days they did not have this medicine, this horrible medicine which nobody needs, as we find out, called Ritalin. In those days it was not there. So what was a proactive version of Ritalin? What should I say? Have the Upanayana ceremony quickly, so that the boy is made to focus. What is Upanayana? The thread ceremony to initiate the boy as a student into the Vedas. So that was done quickly. Did that make a difference? Say no. No. So that did not make any difference whatsoever. He was behaving extremely retarded for his age, and sometimes he would just sit and drool. At other times he would just sit and blabber to himself, God only knows what. And his friends would make fun of him, and he would not do anything to defend himself. Nothing at all, just sat there. And if they beat him up, he let himself get beaten up and came home with cut forehead, cut lip, all these things, much to the mother's, sorrow. And then, throughout he would not speak one word. And they obviously thought this is either a developmental malfunction. First they thought it's a developmental delay, but how can it be so delayed? So therefore it is a developmental malfunction. Something is wrong with this boy. So what to do, take him to a sannyasi, simple, or call the sannyasi over for a consult. So then when Adi Shankara was having his bhiksha at the house, this boy was introduced, and the father said, God has given me everything. I have everything in plenty. The granary is full. My life is full except for this one sorrow. This is my only child, and this is how this fellow has turned out. Please see what you can do, And then the story goes that Adi Shankara, so they both touched the feet of the teacher, of Adi Shankara here, and the father gets up. The child is still prostrate, lying on the floor fully, not getting up. And Adi Shankara lifts the boy up lovingly and says, who are you? And you invoke something in me, Adi Shankara says. You invoke a certain joy in me. This will be explained soon. Who are you that invokes this joyfulness? And what is your name? Where are you headed? Who is your father? And if you answer any one of these questions, because we are aiming very low here, the fellow hasn't spoken for his whole life. Even if you answer a single question, my heart will be very gladdened. And what does the boy do? He breaks into verse, extempore, that expounds the truth of the self. What do you mean who I am and where I came from? I neither came nor went. I am always here. I am that, Nitya, that unchanging, timeless consciousness, limitless consciousness that is free of birth, free of death, and all these things. And having uttered those 12 verses, the boy goes back to silence again. And then, but meanwhile, the mother is thrilled. The mother is jumping up and down for joy. The mother says, finally, he has started to speak with the blessing of this saint which we had for Bhiksha. And so she says to her husband, fill the saint's, lap with all the gold that we have. Everything, give everything, because now we have got the son back. And there are two versions of this story. In the first version, the Adi Shankara says, actually, I'll take your son because he's of no use to you. He doesn't talk, and when he talks, look what comes out of his mouth, and takes the son right away. Leaves the gold behind, takes the son instead. And in another version of the story, Adi Shankara, out of his compassion, sees that the parents are not ready to give up their child, because it's a process of letting go. Can't just let go of everything at once. You have to do it slowly and painfully. And if you don't do it, it will be done for you. This is the promise, And whatever you don't need goes, And it never goes all at one stroke, because the universe, Bhagavati, the goddess, is not so cruel. So slowly, little by little, things wear out, And then the patience to have those things also wears out, which is a good thing. And so therefore, in the second version of this story, Adi Shankara leaves the boy behind and goes away on his lecture tour to nearby villages, and is very surprised to find that the father-son duo has reached the next village before he has. And again the father and mother is also there. Both of them wail, saying that as soon as he left them, the boy became even more idiotic and was behaving really erratically, and was not responding at all. And can they please, since he had fixed him once, can he be fixed again? Fixed means to be welcomed into samsara. That is the fixing they were talking about. It is not a delivering out of samsara. It is to fit into, that misfit, which is this boy, has to be fit into samsara, into the status quo, into leading a life of this, what is this called? This transactional give-take, kind of a life. And he was made to, so since you made him speak, and speaking is the first way in which you encounter others through words. And it's an important thing in any relationship. So since you made him speak, can you make him speak again, and can you make him all right again? At which point Adi Shankara in the second version of the same story, says it's very clear that he is of no use to you. Give him to me, at least he will be happy. I will take him with me. And the boy happily agrees. But the father and mother are having a very, very, very difficult time. This is how it is even in contemporary India, in any time, whether it's the ancient time or now. The decision of leaving home to lead a life of a sannyasi, of a renunciant, is welcomed by everyone, so long as it's not their own offspring. Yeah. If the neighbor's child becomes a sannyasi, the whole neighborhood will go and shower the fellow with flowers and everything. If your own child becomes a sannyasi, finished, you feel like as though that child has died. That pain and that sorrow is a lot for the parents, because the parents themselves need to go through a process of learning, and this is a very difficult learning for the parents. And so the mother starts to cry uncontrollably at the feet of the Acharya, Shankaracharya. She won't even get up. She's just, she's having a breakdown right there. And Adi Shankara then, because of his powers, and what powers, Vairagya, that's the only power. What is Vairagya? Objectivity, dispassion, freedom from asangatvam, freedom from desiring, freedom from longings, that is Vairagya. And so this Vairagya is, when it is total, then you can see things that many people cannot see. And so here, because you don't have a vested interest in how things should be, so you see things as they are. So then to console the mother, Adi Shankara tried to take her back to a time when the child was, a toddler, maybe 18 months old. And then what happened, he said to her, do you remember, oh mother, do you remember that when he was 18 months old, you went to take a bath in the river, leaving this young baby in the care of a meditating sadhu on the riverside? And she said, yeah, I remember. And since then he has not been the same, actually, come to think of it. And then Adi Shankara says, well, the meditating sadhu did what he knew best. What did he know best how to do? Meditate. And so the child inadvertently, this is a setup. So the child went into the river and drowned. And then the sadhu panicked because the mother's arrival is imminent. Moral of the story, do not let your child be babysat by a meditating sadhu. That's all you can say. So anyhow, continuing with the story. So the sadhu said, oh my God, I thought I was just in samadhi for 2 seconds, but it was enough for the river to swallow up this baby. What am I going to tell this innocent mother who trusted me with her life, and she's going to come out of her dip? And so he summoned every single bit of yogic power in his body, and cast off his own body and entered the body of the toddler. This is the story that Adi Shankara is giving to the mother to explain why the child already knows so much, And this is what the whole thing is. And then the mother, somewhat consoled, says, actually you are crying now for a child that you lost 10 years back by the river. Because from then, it's not him, you yourself said. This is the yogi. Poor yogi is trapped in this. in this body. Don't trouble him even more by forcing him to lead a life of samsara. Let this yogi soul come with me in this body, and he will be happy and you will also be happy. Trust me, otherwise this fellow will just be the bane of your existence. At least if you give him up for sannyasa to be a renunciant and to lead the life that he obviously is fit for, then you will not be always troubled that he is not meeting your expectations. Once and for all, he will never meet your expectations. And so saying, he takes this boy away. And his name, we don't know what his name was before. He also doesn't tell when he is asked, as you will see. And his name later becomes Hastamalaka. Haste Amalaka Iva. Amalaka is the fruit in English known as gooseberry. You know gooseberry? Yeah, grows on a bush. And within easy reach, you can pluck it out. And so it's not like, hasta means in the hand. Amalaka Iva. So the one who has picked the knowledge of the self, picked up, assimilated, grasped the knowledge of the self as easily as one holds a gooseberry. One picks a gooseberry from the bush and gets it into the palm of one's hand. That is his name, Hastamalakacharya. And very nice name. And so this, as a small aside, this was one of the favorite texts which Ramana Maharshi was also reading and sometimes talking about. And somebody asked him, either after he spoke of it or referred to it, somebody said to Ramana Maharshi, is self-knowledge as simple as having the gooseberry in the palm of your hand? And he said, actually it is simpler than that. Because first you need the hand. A handless person cannot have the gooseberry. Second, the hand needs to be functioning. Third, you have to actually go and there is an action involved of picking the gooseberry. It may not be in season, it may not be always available. Somebody who wants to make gooseberry pickle might have gotten to it first. So you have to find it, then you have to pluck it, and then you have to hold the muscles of your hand have to function in certain ways to be keeping on holding it. And then having held it, then your eyes have to function to say, oh, I am the seer of the one who has the gooseberry in the palm of my hand. Look how complicated this is. Far easier it is for that which you don't even need to grasp and bring close to yourself. It already is you. So the knowledge is easier than having the gooseberry in the hand. Then the question comes, why gooseberry? Why not raspberry? Why not blackberry or blueberry?
Sound.
Yeah, well, the sound, and also it would look very funny if we said blueberryum instead of Hastamalakiyam. And here, gooseberry, because it is not like other fruits or berries which are difficult to pick. And we know with all these so-called antioxidant berries, even Amalaka has a lot of antioxidants, but with most of these dark-colored berries, if you don't pick it right, you will get more on the hands than in the hand. Everything just becomes a paint job. And then there are certain other fruits like dates. You have to climb high and you have to get it. And there are dangers, date, star fruit, all these things are like that. And mangosteen, by the time you get it and pick it, the whole, it's gone. It's like, it's hardly there. And so this one is very easy to spot because it's this kind of a translucent green. And then it is easy to pick and hold. That is why gooseberry. It is also one of the, it is seen as a medicinal berry. One of the ingredients in this churna, in this all-purpose Ayurvedic powder, called triphala. In triphala, this is one of the main ingredients. And this ingredient is, this berry is very curative. So too self-knowledge is curative. And why is it curative? It cures you of all the ills you knew you had and all the ills you did not even know you had. So he was renamed Hastamalaka. And there are many stories about him even afterwards, after he joined Adi Shankara along with the other 3 disciples. He was late to class and when Adi Shankara would have classes. And Adi Shankara never said anything to him, even though he was late, which as a result of what? There were jealousies, there was resentment. How come you don't say anything to him? Well, and Adi Shankara would repeat the story. The yogi body in this, the yogi Atma in this body, etc., etc. And then once, since he knew so much, he was, other students said, he doesn't write books, he doesn't transcribe lectures, he doesn't do anything. And we think that he should actually contribute. As a student, you have to contribute, and he has to contribute by writing this, what is called Vartika, like a note, like a subtext to the commentaries of Adi Shankara's Brahma Sutra. And everybody ganged upon him and said, you are writing this very difficult treatise. You are the one who is going to do this. And of course he didn't say anything. He never did. But Adi Shankara said, leave him alone. Leave him alone because he's not going to be writing books. You see? And so therefore, there is, there is, in Hastamalaka we see different ways of being, and in all of Adi Shankara's students we see different kinds of studentship that they represent and different kinds of attributes of this learning that they represent. Hastamalaka is associated with the understanding and assimilation, total assimilation of this knowledge. Padmapada, who got his name by, he was on the other side of the bank, and Adi Shankara could not find a book or something, not book, manuscript, palm leaf manuscript. And he said, can you please come? And mindless of the crocodile, the river, the undercurrent, everything, he just ran across the river. And he had a Jesus-like experience that wherever his foot fell, a lotus emerged to catch him because of the purity of the intention of going to serve the master. How beautiful. So Padmapada is associated with service, and this one, the Totaka, is associated with devotion, complete devotion to the teacher, and Sureshwaracharya is associated with represents learning, mastery in learning. So this way there are all these, they teach us so many things about this parampara, the vidya, and how great Adi Shankara must have been to leave each one to follow their destiny and to come out in whatever way, to bring out whatever they wanted to bring out in themselves. Very beautiful. And so these 12 verses are a response to a question-answer exchange, which is not given here, which we won't be studying in great detail at all. But however, we'll just read it so we know that it is, so we know what it entails. So this is, and we don't know if Adi Shankara talked like this or whether somebody else put it in verse. We do not know. Kastvam shisho kasya kutosi ganta kinnamate tvam kuta agatosi. Don't look for it, it's not there. Yeah, these two are not there. Yeah. Etanmayoktam vadacarbhakatvam matpritaye priti vivardhanosi. This is Adi Shankara talking. Kastvam. Kaha tvam means what? Who are you? Yeah, close. Who are you? Shisho. What is Shisho? Sounds like Guru. Hey Guru means it's vocative. Hey Shisho, vocative. So if Guru comes from Guruhu, Shisho comes from Shishuhu. What is Shishuhu? Who is Shishu? Baby, child. Who are you, oh child? Kastvam Shisho. And Kasya. Kasya means whose are you? Who is your father, mother? What is your lineage? Whose are you? Who do you belong to? Kutosi. From where do you come from? Ganta Kim. Where are you headed? Ganta Kim Nama. Ganta Kim Nama Kim. Te Tvam. What is your name? And then Kuta Agatosi. From whence have you come? From where have you come? Etat. These questions. Maya Uktam. Mayoktam. Repeated by me. Vada. Vada means speak. Tell me the answers to any of these questions. Like I said, even one will do. And then Mat Pritaye. That will gladden, for the sake of gladdening me. See, this is such a nice way to speak. Instead of saying, where are you? Who are you? How dare you not talk? Why are you troubling your parents? This is not the way to speak. We learn how to speak very beautifully from these kinds of styles of writing and speaking. So, if you answer these, you will be making me so pleased. You are gladdening my heart. And who are you? Preeti Vivardhanosi. You are already increasing the love that I have. Yeah. What does it mean? You are increasing the love that I have. That love which I have, which actually is my own nature, in your presence is manifesting itself. I recognize a likeness in you. And I am thrilled to be in your presence. Speak, O child, tell me who you are. And then the child responds. Don't look for it, it's not here. Okay? Yeah. The child says, Naham manushyo na deva yakshau na brahmana kshatriya vaishya shudraha na brahmachari na grihi vanastha na bhikshur na chaham nijabodharupaha. So he says, Na aham, the child says, Na aham manushyaha. Means what? I'm not a human being. Yeah. Oh, this is more complicated than we thought. At least we were functioning under the assumption you were a human being. Na aham manushyaha. I'm not a human being. And then, so what are you? You're an alien. Na deva yakshaha. Yakshau. I'm not an alien. I'm not a celestial. Deva, Gandharva, Yaksha, these are, lower rung celestials. I'm none of those. I'm not a celestial. I'm not an alien. I haven't come. I'm not a remnant from Star Wars or whatever else might be. And then what? Okay, so you are not a human being. You are not a celestial. And then the other categories are what? Which rung of the ladder you belong. You're Brahmana? No. You're Kshatriya? No. You're Vaishya, Shudra? No. All the classifications in the society, all the categorizations. And then in the modern day, you can say, are you rich? No. Everyone says no. Are you poor? No. Are you middle class? No. Are you aristocratic? No. We have a lot of assets, but they're all tied up in, various investments. No. I'm neither man nor woman, nor am I young, nor am I old, nor am I belonging to any different classes in the society. Now more intriguing. And then what about your, occupation? Are you a student? No. Are you a householder? No. Oh, you're retired. No. You're a sannyasi. No. And so what are you? Nija bodha rupaha. Rupa, form, nature. Nija is my own self, bodha. That self which I am is of the nature of all knowledge. That's what I am. And because I am all knowledge, none of the categories of the society, the social rungs of the ladder, apply to me. Neither do various occupations apply to me. Neither do man, woman, apply, that distinction, even the most basic distinction, gender distinction, does not apply to me. And what am I? I'm all knowledge. This is what he says, which is why Adi Shankara says, leave him with me, because he's saying alarming things which you will not be able to understand and you will not be able to appreciate as parents. Leave him be with me. That is when he says that, And so these two verses are seen as interpolations or later additions, and so sometimes they are included, sometimes they are not included in the text. But the text really starts with, now you can look for it. We'll chant the first verse. Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravrittau.
Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravrittau.
We'll try that again. Nimittam manaha.
Nimittam manaha.
Chakshuradi pravrittau.
Chakshuradi pravrittau.
Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravrittau.
Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravrittau.
Nimittam manashchakshu.
Nimittam manashchakshu.
Radi pravrittau. Yeah, Panini is rolling in his grave when we break it up like that. But it's worth it to get it. Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravrittau.
Nimittam
manashchakshuradi pravrittau. Nirastakhilopādhīrākāṣakalpaha. Nirastakhilopādhīrākāṣakalpaha. Nirasta, say that.
Nirasta.
Akhila.
Akhila.
Upadhihi.
Upadhihi.
Akāṣakalpaha.
Akāṣakalpaha.
Kalpaha. Yeah. Nirastakhilopādhīrākāṣakalpaha. Nirastakhilopādhīrākāṣakalpaha. Ravirlokacheshta.
Ravirlokacheshta.
Nimittam yathayaha.
Nimittam yathayaha.
Yaha.
Yaha.
Ravirlokacheshta.
Ravirlokacheshta.
Nimittam yathayaha.
Nimittam yathayaha.
Sanityopalabdhi.
Sanityopalabdhi.
Swarupohamatma.
Swarupohamatma.
Yeah, it's not you, it's just this. This is how the boy talks, okay? Yeah, don't feel bad. So, together. Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravrittau. निरस्ताखिलोपाधेराकाशकल्पः रविर्लोकचेष्टा निमित्तं यथायः स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. The last part better learn because it's going to be said at the end of every line. Yeah. Sa nityopalabdhi swarupohamatma, that is the refrain. Yeah. I will email you the 2 verses, no problem. And so let us look at it. Nimittam means karanam, the cause, the source. Nimitta means cause here. So the cause of what? Manaha chakshuhu adehe pravritti nimittam. Manaha means what? Mind. Chakshu means what? Eyes. Adi means what? Etc. And Adi means etc. But really the meaning of the word Adi means the mind and eyes are at the beginning of which list? Yeah, that's really what Adi means. So this is how you say etc. in Sanskrit. The mind and the eyes are at the beginning of which list? You know, it's like one of those SAT questions, SAT questions or GRE questions. And what a kind, they'll ask certain kinds of questions, you know. Hat, coat, umbrella, and then, you know, yogurt. Right? Hat, coat, umbrella, yogurt. So then, you know, the hat, coat and umbrella are part of one list, correct? Milk, yogurt, butter is another list. Here it's a mix-up purposely to test your, recognition skills of word groups and everything. So then immediately you say, okay, hat, coat, umbrella belong together, correct? So here, manaha and chakshu, the mind and the eyes belong together. Why? All of them are come under the rubric of a list called not just karmendriya. Let's say sense organs. Indriyas. Let us say indriyas. Sense organs. What kind of senses? Eye is not, is it karmendriya or jnanendriya? Jnanendriya, you know. Karmendriya means action. Organs of action. Wide tattva bodha, which we have studied, you know. And there it gives a very good distinction between organs of action and sense organs called jnanendriya, organs of knowing. So is the mind organ of knowing or organ of action? Knowing, naturally. Because organs of action are hands, legs, you know, and then what else? Speech. Speech. Hands, legs, mouth, speech, vak, you know, pani, pada, and then reproductive and excretory organs. These are the organs of action. Everything else, any other organs that we are talking about are sense organs. Okay? So, organs that sense, called jnanendriyas, organs of knowing. So, which list does the mind eye belong to? Now it's very clear. Which list? Sense organs, the jnanendriya. So when you say Adi, then all the other things have to be brought in. Correct? So then that which is the cause of not the mind, but the pravritti of the mind and the pravritti of the eyes. Pravritti here means activity as opposed to nivritti, repose. Pravritti, nivritti, we have seen this. Where? Kutra? Huh? Wednesday class, Kathopanishad. Pravritti and nivritti. Correct? Shreya, Shreyas, nivritti and preyas, pravritti. Exactly. Now everything. Now the clockwork started to function. Little winding was required. So pravritti means activity. Nivritti means withdrawal, right? So here pravrittau means engaged in activity, seventh case. So with reference to the activity, Vishaya Saptami, with reference to the activity of the mind and the eyes, etc., the cause of that which is the cause, that which is the cause of the activity of the eyes and the mind. What is the cause of the activity of the eyes? Yeah, where does sight come from? You can say first the mind. Yeah, but then the mind itself becomes an object, right? Because you observe the mind and you say, my mind is not in what I am seeing. You yourself are able to say that. So that's why this boy has cleverly included the mind in the list of the sense organs. Because the first you say the eyes see. Really the eyes see? No, the eyes don't see. The mind is behind the eyes that makes the eyes see. Okay, wonderful. But then what about the mind? The mind itself very quickly converts from the seer to what? Seen. There is something that converts the mind, which was the witness of the sight earlier, to being witnessed, to becoming an object. That which was the subject is converted into an object by which that I am. That eternal witness, eternally unchanging witness, that non-changing, timeless witness, the one in front of whom, blessed by whose presence all activities take place, connected to the mind, connected to the eyes, connected to the sense organs. Itself non-acting in any way, it lends its presence. And that presence I am, that timeless, changeless presence I am. This is what the boy says. So, nimittam means the cause. Manaha chakshuradi pravrittau, the cause of the activity with reference to the mind and the other sense organs, etc. That I am that cause. Oh, so what does the cause look like? Does it begin with a capital C? So we look for, like sometimes, there is all this very silent things happening, especially in the world of mafia, Suddenly some people get killed without any explanation. And just the previous day they had gone to see the mafia boss. And the mafia boss turned towards the next in succession, the main hit man or the successor, and just blinked his eyes very quietly twice. And then so many people were offed, and so many people's houses were demolished. All these things happen. And the mafia boss can also say, I am the nimitta. I am that which causes I lend my presence to the whole neighborhood without doing anything. Why? Because I have all these chelas. Chelas means these followers, these devotees who will destroy everything in my name. All I have to do is just direct them. You go over here. You go and get the money they owe us. Even if they don't owe, never mind, get the money. You go and settle an account that needs to be settled from my grandfather's time, So I send all these people who are these chelas, my disciples, scurrying in all different directions. Yeah, you have to be an intern to become a mafia. You can't just suddenly become, you have to learn the ways. There is an apprenticeship involved. And so, I have sent forth my disciples and to in various directions, and they are doing everything, and I am just sitting and watching. Is it that kind of a watching? No. It's not like this, it's not like God, Godfather type thing. It's not like that. Because the Godfather here, the presence is a terrifying presence, and even though that person, he may not be, the Don may not be doing anything, but he is the cause of directing others to do in certain ways. So that is not the example. So then what does this cause look like? It's not like some dictator, some Hitler, some Don sitting on a throne and then directing people. What does it look like? Nirasta akhila upadhihi aham. Akhila, everything, all, samasta, completely. Nirasta means from which, nirasta means departed. Astam nirgatam yasmat, nirastam. From which they have set actually. Astam means set. So all the upadhis have set. Means what? Have set like the sun. Means no upadhi at all, no form, no attributes, from which all attributes have departed, which is free of attributes, which is, which yet whose presence alone, whose attribute-less presence alone is the cause of all functioning, all activities of the sense organs. And why does he begin with the mind and the sense organs? Because the whole dialogue with the father was, around speech and talk and interaction. So this is why he brings that up repeatedly. And so he says, I am that cause in whose presence everything functions, including especially the mind and the sense organs function. And I am also that cause which is free of form and name, free of all attributes. How can something be free of attributes and yet be the cause? This is very intriguing, correct? How? Just like the sky, he says. Akasha kalpaha. Kalpaha means comparison. Even as the, not even sky, space. Like the space. Does space exist? That means there's a lot of space here. If the answer doesn't come. Does space exist?
Yes.
Yes, space exists. How do you know? Can you see space? No. Can you, what should I say, imprison space?
No.
Yes, you can imprison space. You can put something in a tin and quickly shut the lid and say, this tin contains space. And you would be right to a certain extent. But does the tin contain space or does space contain the tin? Now we are going dangerously into Zen areas. This is sounding like a cone. But that was Zen, this is Tao. So now we come back. And then so we come back here. And so is the tin in space? Like even you take this little, fellow pot. Now what's inside this pot? Space. Naturally you have to say that. You agree?
Yes.
Yes. Say yes even if you don't agree. It's okay. So there is space in the pot, correct?
Yes.
And so the space with reference to the pot is called pot space. Space with reference to the room after you build a house is called room space. Space with reference to the head is called spaced out. And there is a term for everything connected to space. And so, but then the question is the space really inside pot? Okay, if it is inside the pot, take it out. Then you have to go like this. Did it come out? Little more left? No, little more is left. I think I need a spoon. Like ice cream, So, it doesn't come out. Why? Because it's not there to begin with. It's just along with the upadhi called pot. Loosely translated as container. Difficultly translated as limited adjunct. Like a mode of expression for this space is pot right now. So with reference to the small pot, we say small pot space, big pot space, pot belly space, but space, correct? But here, when you look at space, when you think about space, without reference to any of the upadhis, you still know it is there, correct? Yeah, it is that which accommodates everything. So therefore, the space is not really in the pot. Pot is in space, right? And so therefore what? So I am like that space, itself nameless and formless, which contains everything, which accommodates everything. So I accommodate all activities. I am that presence which lends itself to all activities without being involved in them, just as even space, everything is contained and accommodated in space. But then what? It is not, it is free of all attributes. Then he gives another example. Ravihi means what? Sun. Yeah. Ravihi yatha ravihi lokacheshta nimittam, and you have to add bhavati asti. This is how to, make it prosaic, because of the meter, all the words are put here and there. So this is called anvaya, to make it prosaic. So yatha ravihi lokacheshta nimittam bhavati. So this is a typical, Indian morning. You go at 4 o'clock, nothing is happening. Nothing is moving. Everything is dark. Everything is shut down, quiet. You go at 4:15, 4:20, and then, some activities start to take place. And 4:45 in the summer, sun rises. And then everything, it becomes such a big bazaar so quickly. The flower seller comes. Let's say this activity, this scene is taking place. We have put the camera in front of a temple, in front of a temple. 4 o'clock, nothing is happening. 4:15, nothing is happening. 4:25, a sleepy priest comes and opens and, goes inside. And then when the sun comes, the milkman comes to deliver the milk. Paperman comes. Yes, the temples do subscribe to newspapers. Paperman comes to deliver the paper. The flower seller, the lady starts to, suddenly, up till then there was nothing there, just bare road. And then suddenly you find this little tripod, like the one in front of me, holding a basket, and then flowers, and she's just making fresh malas there, extempore. She's just making malas and selling. And then the early devotees start to pile, and then somebody is selling something, somebody is buying something. And now shift the camera from the temple to the main market, which is right outside, and all the stalls have started to come, and the bangle seller has put up the bangles, and the offering seller has put up the offerings, and then the memento tchotchke seller has put up all the things which you never need, but then you are compelled to buy. And then and then you have all these things, and then all in what? The presence of the sun. Here sun should be taken as sunlight, not that the sun is needed. The sunlight, in the presence of the sunlight, all activities, come to light. They start taking place. And then, if people were to, that's why you have to, it's very difficult to live in places like, what is that? Denmark. No wonder Hamlet, had some problems. And but there was a method in his madness. I think he had undiagnosed, what is it called? Seasonal affective disorder. That's why he kept asking to be or not to be. That is the question. So I think it was undiagnosed. SAD, SAD he had, seasonal affective disorder. So, because that's what, Polonius, the minister, he comes and, Hamlet is reading one book. So Polonius is a wise man and wants to ask, what are you reading? And Hamlet says, words, 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 he says. It's true, he's reading words, but nobody talks like that. So Polonius concludes in his psychological notes of Hamlet's, he is mad, but there is a method in his madness. So he was not mad, he was sad. So, so if you live in places like this, where in the winter right now, like you see the sun for 3 hours. I mean, last month I was in Europe. Already I saw the signs of this, because 3:30 the sun would start setting. 2 o'clock, 3:30 the sun prepares to set, and very difficult. So it feels like life itself has departed. You see, with the departure of the sun, and because that sun is the inspiration of for all the activities, mentally, emotionally, physically, and that sunlight is the inspiration for all kinds of interactions and transactions. And this is what is expressed here. Even in the most ancient example, is very easy to see this. Ravihi here doesn't mean sun, the light of the sun, just as the light of the sun. Yatha, just as lokacheshta nimittam bhavati, becomes the karanam, becomes the cause for all the activities in the jagat, loka here jagat, in the world. So too I am that nitya upalabdhi swarupa. Nitya upalabdhi swarupa means that which is ever present and ever available. Which is why I keep asking one question and only one question. What is that?
Are you here?
Are you here? And what will be the answer?
Yes.
Yes. And you can't but say yes. Because even if you say no, it will be like a child hiding behind the couch. Are you hiding behind the couch? No. But then when you say no, you're actually saying yes. Yes? No. Yes. So, that means it is ever, not just ever present. That is one thing to say it is ever present. But then where is it present? If you have to go to the next, yuga to see it, next time frame, next kalpa to see it, or you have to go to the next loka to see it, which is what a lot of dualists will have one believe, that in order to be united with God, united with yourself, in order to gain moksha, you have to cast off the, how do they put it in an archaic way, cast off the mortal coils, right? You have to cast off this upadhi, because without this upadhi, you cannot have, without this upadhi, only you can have moksha. You cannot have moksha as long as you are upadhified. This is what a lot of people will tell us. But this is not true. Why? Because it's not present in another loka. It's not present in some other future time frame, next yuga. Satya Yuga has to come, Kali Yuga is here. No. And it's not that it is present somewhere else, in some other, I have to morph myself into something else in order to see it and be united with it. What is it? It is present right here, right now. So it is ever available. Nitya upalabdhi has to be translated as ever available. Ever available. Always available. Never does the Atma say, if you ask, are you here? Never will it say, I am too busy right now, call me back later. Like some people's answering machines. Answering machine will say what? I can't come to the phone right now. Please, what? Leave a message. Please, leave a message. I can't come to the phone right now. I'm trying to tell the phone. And I can't come to the phone right now. So please leave a message. If Atma, I also started the I that we are talking about. We're not talking of iPad, iMac, iPhone, iPod. We are talking of simply the I. If the truth of the I also said, I can't come to the phone right now, please leave a message. I can't come to you right now because I'm busy. I'm busy doing something else. Then you know that what is talking is not the Atma, correct? Yeah. The Atma only knows how to say yes. That's really all it knows. Yes means the yes is our language for that that expression of the ever availability that you sense, that presence that you sense. The sensed presence morphs into a language that we understand as a positive affirmation, yes. Because are you here? Even before you say yes, there is a recognition that has taken place, correct? In fact, it's a cognition and it is a recognition. That's right. So there is a cognition that has happened. Are you here? But of course, yes, those are just verbal translations of that answer, which really has no translation. The closest translation is yes, I am. So what does it make the Atma? Always here, always near, always dear. This is what the Atma is. It's not away from me, and it is not something that I have to look for, either in another time frame or in some other life, or it's in the hereafter. It is right here, right now. And if we can say one thing about the Atma and its nature, is that it is ever present, never absent. And this ever present Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa, I am of the nature of ever present what? What is that? Ever present presence. And what is this presence? When you say presence, I am, correct? That means presence. I am. And when you say I am, there is something else that is you're saying, which is not yet said. I am. What is hidden here in this understanding? I have given away the answer. I am. When you say I am, what are you really saying? I know I am. Correct? Aham asmi, I am. Aham bhami, I shine, or I know I am. Because when you say I am, you're not just saying I am. Because how do you know you are? I know I am. Do you know now?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
No? No?
Yes.
This is what is Nitya. Free of attributes, free of time is Nitya. So the now, when I say now, do you know you are? You said yes. Now do you know you are? You said yes. And between the first yes and the second yes, was there any change?
No.
No. Here we can safely say no. And between the second yes and the third yes, will there be any change? No. How do you know? Because I know I am. That's why you will show me a photograph. Somebody showed me a photograph. This is me when I was 2 months old. The only similarity I could see was that time also the person did not have hair or teeth. Now also the person did not have hair or teeth. That was the only similarity. Otherwise I couldn't see any similarity. This person is tall. That baby was, 25 inches. Newborn 1 month old baby. And so I would say, how do you know this is you? And then, awkward school photo. How do you know this is you? I am. I am. I know. I am. And that I know is changeless. And that which is changeless is free of limits. Because the changing itself is a limitation. So that which is changeless is free of limits. It is not confined to a particular attribute. It's not confined to a particular time. And it's not confined to a particular place. Deshataha, kalataha, vastutaha, aparichinnaha, limitless. And so that awkward school photo, the doesn't want to be photographed a teenager photo who pulls the hat over the eyes each time the parents try to take a photograph. And then, I want to put this on match.com youth photo, photoshopped photo to bring out the best in oneself. And then what else, And then the family photo, and then photos of various trips, and then then various trips, and if you are going on a pilgrimage, various dips. So various trips and dips photos. And then after that what? Photo, where is it? So need another camera to be able to see the photo. And all these photos from start to finish, correct? All that have this unchanging presence there which reclaims each photo as me, aham. I am the witness in this photo, I am the witness. This was taken here, there. But and who is saying that? The one who is neither here nor there. The one who is everywhere, like the space, like the sky. The one who is like space, free and everywhere, says, this is me, I was here, this is now, this is then, is all in the now. And this is Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa. Upalabdhi means always present. Always present where? Right here, right now. And the cognition of that ever-presentness is knowledge, which we call Jnanam. Chit, same thing. And the presence itself is called Sat. The Nitya here is Sat Chit, Upalabdhi Swarupa, Sat Chit. And what is Ananda? Atma here is Ananda, really. Free of limits, free of any kind of body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, free of ailments, free of expectations, free of fears, free of sorrows, free of desires, free above all of activities, all activity. And a beautiful thing about the Hastamalakiyam, and we don't know if this is true, but I will tell you nonetheless, is that supposedly Adi Shankara was so moved by these verses that he himself wrote a commentary. So they say. But then we all know that a lot of things, signed under the name of Shankaracharya are just attributed to him, but they are not written by him. And then, in searching for this so-called commentary, actually we found that there are two commentaries, both said to be written by Adi Shankara. And one of them, I think, both of them may not be, or maybe, it doesn't matter. But what is beautiful here is that if the teacher regards the verses as so wonderful to be able to write a commentary, and then that is something very moving. And then what is also beautiful is that in the commentary, the Shankaracharya refers to Hastamalaka as Acharya, the teacher. Yeah, very beautiful. So therefore, you can see that these verses do not belong to a student. They are not coming from the lips of someone uninitiated into this knowledge. In fact, this is more of a Manana Grantha than a Prakarana Grantha, although it also can be considered a Prakarana Grantha. Prakarana means that which talks about the nature of the self, and Manana means a kind of a contemplative piece of writing which reiterates what is already there. So this is kind of on the border of both of them. But it is very, very beautifully written and very high class, really, and something worth studying. And since now we know the meaning of the first verse, we will chant it again together. Nimittam manaschakshuradhi pravrittau nirastakhilopādhīrākāṣakalpaha ravirlokacheshta nimittam yathāyaha sanityopalabdhisvarupohamatma. That is how you chant it, and so I think we have covered all of them. Yeah. Swarupaha aham, I am that Atma, which is in the form of the ever-present. When you say I am, you are actually saying I know I am So the presence gets translated into awareness. And what is that awareness? It's not awareness of something or the other, although it is awareness of this or that when something called this or that is in purview. When nothing is in purview, it's awareness itself. And we use the word consciousness. So I am that unchanging consciousness who is ever aware of everything, never absent, ever present all the time, ever available. So beautiful, More we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions? Yeah, I will post the 2 verses on the current class texts. You can download them, okay? Yeah, no problem. Rather than emailing. So now all the transmission problems have gone, correct? Everybody is able to see and hear. Good. Yes, what is your question? Any questions here? Is it necessary to be, Prashant asks, is it necessary to be a sannyasi to be a Jivan Mukta? No. And if so, how does the Jivan Mukta know that the fullness that he experiences is coming from one's own Swarupa or whether it is coming from the possessions? Very nice question. Yeah. So, really speaking, the source of the joy is one, correct? What is the source of the joy? You, Atma. So if the source is one, then, wherever that joy is encountered, experienced, manifest, where is it coming from? Yeah. What is the source of Ananda? You. So all Ananda is you alone. Ice cream Ananda is attributed to the ice cream. It's an adhyasa, it's a superimposition. It is imposed upon the ice cream, whereas it is really you. It's not even you plus ice cream, it is you. It's like our, our stock dog and the bone story. The dog finds the bone and sits down to enjoy it. The sharp edges of the bone scratch the gums of the dog and cause it to bleed. And the dog slurps the bone and says, "Oh, what a juicy bone I have." Where is the juice coming from? The dog, not the bone. Raso vaisaha. So to rasa means essence, juice, that thing called Ananda. Rasaguhyevayam labdhvanandi bhavati. This is Taittiriya Upanishad. Raso vaisaha. This Atma is so full of that happiness that it spills over the ice cream and it spills over to something else, to the house, to the marriage, to the family, to the possessions, to the pets. And then one, mistakenly thinks that it's the pet that is making me happy, and it is the house that is making me happy. It's my possessions that are making me happy. So really speaking, there is no 2 sources of joy. And so the Jivan Mukta is happy and is not afraid to so it's not, the problem is not with the possessions, it's with being possessed by those very possessions. Yeah. One time Pujya Swamiji told me don't have anything that you cannot give away. And that's a very good rule to have. Don't have anything that you cannot give away. You can own a lot of things, but you need not, be possessed by them. That's why the word possessed has double meaning, where you go mad. And so there is a certain truth to that. And so the possessions are okay so long as you know that they are a sadhana. They are a means to lead the life, and they are a means to enjoy perhaps a few things, sleep little more comfortably, and be entertained, and then what? And then that's it. And they are a means to something, bringing out what I already am, really. So sometimes those means are there to enjoy. You can enjoy them without being possessed by them. And so the Jivan Mukta knows that. And the Jivan Mukta does not shy away from things, or is not afraid of things taking over. That is the sadhaka. In the beginning you have to be afraid of things taking over. Like, in the 12th step, the person who is an alcoholic is told, stay away from the old friends with whom you used to socialize. Why? Because that same kind of situation will bring out that same desire to drink, if you are in that thing. So in the beginning one has to be careful of overindulging in the possessions and everything, because one forgets that to protect that which needs to be brought out more, that truth of oneself, through Shravanam, Mananam, etc. But over time what happens is that you are not afraid of being possessed. That is what it is. And do you have to be a sannyasi? No, you don't have to be a sannyasi on the outside, but you definitely have to be a sannyasi on the inside. Your heart has to wear an orange kurta. Yes, that's what you have to do. And when the heart wears an orange kurta, then it doesn't matter what you wear outside. The disposition has to be sannyasi-like. Then only this knowledge comes really. That is Vairagya. Bada question. What is this? Let's see here. Make this a little big so we can read it. Here we are. As a follow-up, while I feel satisfied having a home, family and security, even the ananda that I am experiencing is Swarupananda alone. Yes. How can I know with certainty that this sense of satisfaction will follow me even when it's all gone? What is the litmus test to know that while I'm happy right now, I'll be happy even in the absence of everything? Is it easier for a sannyasi to make this distinction? Not necessarily. How do you know? The litmus test is go to sleep. And in sleep, you are totally happy. Even without the possessions, even if you go to look at the child, the child goes to sleep hugging the teddy bear, right? Or some stuffed toy. Except in this country, even adults. When I first came to this country, I was so, intrigued, because somebody, said, would you like to see my room? I said, sure. So I followed them to their room. And then this was an adult we are talking about, and they had big stuffed animals. So I said, do you have a child, or do you babysit a child? No, these are all belonging to me. So, that was something new. But in India, children have something to hug, because, they are afraid, and some ghosts and monsters will be under the bed every day. And so to stave off all that, the mother will give them, or the parents will give them something soft to cuddle, to go to sleep easily. And so they will hold this and go to sleep. And then after they go to sleep, what happens? Are they still holding? The hold slackens. No possession, no teddy, no buddy, nothing in sleep. Nothing in sleep. But you are the happiest in sleep, correct? Yeah, because you don't know even anything. All that is there is Swarupananda manifesting. Unfortunately, you are not there to enjoy that Swarupananda. But there is a certain enjoyment. There is upabhoga. And that bhoga itself shows that without anything, without any prop, you are fine. This is what you understand. And that's why when you wake up, first thing you do is to know that all these 8 hours you spent without any dependency on anything, and you are totally free of sorrow, totally free of credit card debt, totally free of everything. That is a very mundane way to know that. You don't even need any kind of, what should I say, very heady logic for that. So you will be fine without anything. So the state is permanent and not a finite experience, state of Ananda. First of all, I will not call it a state. A state is that which you get into and get out of. And so it is you, and it is permanent, yes. It is permanent. So then Deepthi had a question. Can you please tell me if it is good to attend track 3 and 4? Or will we be confused taking all the tracks? Not you. You won't be confused. Take all the tracks. Yeah, no problem. All right. See you very soon. 6 o'clock, no? Kathopan. No. What is it? Shvetashvatara.